job hopping. Now, is job hopping something that is going to help you in your career, or is it something that's going to absolutely tear it to shreds? Ricky and I are going to have a little chat about job hopping and what we think about it, whether we're for or against, and what we recommend you should do, because we're obviously experts in this matter with terrible career advice. So, Ricky, job hopping, for or against, and why?
In this scenario, am I the employer or the employee?
Oh, I think, shall we look at it from an employer's lens?
Employer, so
To begin. Because to be honest, there's two sides to every...
that's what I'm thinking. So I'm hiring someone that's looking at someone that's got a whole bunch of jobs on their CV. Looks like they've hopped from job to job.
Yeah, let's tackle that first, and then we're going to talk about it from the other side.
So I would say, again, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? You know,
Well, we've got 15 minutes, so...
so very fast down the rabbit hole. So I would look at it from an employer level, and I'd go, okay, they've gone to so many jobs. I'd look at them into two sides. Are they the same job doing the same thing, or are they always a step up? You know, doing something else slightly aligned but slightly different to get more experience in this area. Again,
Progression can be seen by those jobs.
correct, and job titles and so forth and so forth. So if we went down the left side and it was all the same job, the same level, same experience going straight down.
And like firstly, what would be considered job hopping to you in terms of time frame?
Yearly?
Okay, so once a year they change jobs.
Once a year they change jobs and they go...
Yes.
Always, yeah, and they're going into the same category. To me, that is someone that isn't a good employee because they're doing the same thing, which they should have a lot of experience in, even though that's short times, they're just a different company. Although the beginning stages of every new job, you've got to learn the company, you know, company goals, company direction, all that sort of thing. But with saying that, you should still know that core role of that job, because regardless of how many jobs you've been at, it's still the same role. So to me, that's just a bad employee that's not getting along with their boss, and it shows a whole bunch of things
Not
like,
to work with. Or
yeah, laziness.
make lots of assumptions based on that, right?
Correct, yeah. And I could be completely wrong, but that's what, you know,
What it looks like.
that's what I would read. But on the other hand, if I was looking at it and I thought, okay, let's go back to that year time frame. A year they've been in this position, then they've moved on to here. Okay, so they've actually moved up. They've got this experience and they're doing something slightly different. From my eyes, it's a step up. The company couldn't offer them that, so they've moved on. That to me shows as someone that's progressive and is doing well and wants to do well. But then if we go back to the original question...
Yes, we got sidetracked.
We did.
I think it's an important sidetrack though, because it's very ambiguous, like what is job hopping? But so how we're going to talk about it is that a year or less, you've changed roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to the beginning bit, is that job hopping going to make me hire that person or not? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I suppose it depends on what the data looks like to me and what the character references are. But I think from the fourth most, if I looked at two CVs in front of me, because we were from an employee perspective, and I saw one that had first glance, you know, if I had heaps of CVs, first glance, one had 10 jobs and one had 2 jobs over the space of 5 years, I'd be putting the 10 job one down regardless of if it looked like they're moving up that ladder or not. So I think in terms of first look, you'd judge a book by its cover. You'd look at a current employer and you'd see, this guy's had 2 solid jobs over the last, 5 years. This guy's had 10 jobs over the last 5 years. And I'd look at putting more of my attention on this one. I personally would subconsciously write that person off.
Really? That's interesting, because I might be quite different on this.
Yeah, but like I said, if you wanted to go further and say I had 2 CVs that both had the same amount of jobs, then I'd look at the data, right? You'd go, okay, sweet. This guy's the same job, same level, quick moving, same job, each job's different level, and he's moving up the ladder. So then you go for that person.
Right.
How would you look at it? You said you look at it differently.
Yeah, because I personally think times have changed, and it used to be one person, one job, 10, 20 years, you're a great employee because you're loyal and you stick around. I think that's bullshit, because the people that are in the same role in the same company for 10 years are people that are complacent, they're not innovative, they're not driven to achieve and do more, from my bias, my biases, if that's a word. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's a Ricky word.
I see those people as being stagnant and not wanting growth. And whereas if I see a person who changes jobs every couple of years and progresses, I see that those jobs are improvements, then I'm like, okay, they're driven, they want more, they want to succeed, they want to grow. And as long as the role I'm advertising for can provide them with long-term growth, and there's it's not just a desk monkey job where anyone can do it, you come in, every day is the same, there's no opportunity to grow in that role. As long as there's ample opportunity for them to continuously be challenged and grow, then I would see that as a good fit. Whereas the other side, I would probably want someone who's got more of a background or sticking in a job and for a long time doing the same thing, is quite happy to do that if the role needed that. So it's like both sides of the coin. It depends on who you're looking for and what type of person you want to fill that particular role. But for me personally, I guess I'm a bit biased in the fact that I have been in the past a bit of a job jumper. So, but that's because I like to be challenged, I like learning, and I like growing. And if a role doesn't offer the opportunity for me to continuously do that, I'm sorry, but I'm going to find that challenge elsewhere.
So you've jumped to the employee perspective as opposed to the employer. So
I have.
If I was to go to the employee perspective, I would be along the same boats as you. So again, I could be as happy as Larry in my current job, but if I've aced it, I feel like I've aced it, and there's no more career progression with someone like me that wants to move forward and do better for myself, then by all means, I will be looking for the next opportunity, regardless of where that comes from. You know, and so in terms of career hopping that way, then I'm all for it for the right reasons. If you're just hopping for $1.50 more or whatever it is for more money, it's an absolute wrong reason to hop careers, because it's going to have a negative outcome on your situation, because you're going to jump between job to job to job. If they call up for references, why'd they leave? I got offered more money. Why'd they leave? I got offered an opportunity where you could do better for himself. So you've got two different perceptions of yourself. So for me, from an employee perspective, job hopping for the right reason, you know, personal decision, I'm for it. But, you know, if you can get what you're getting at your current job, then by all means stick at it, because you're valued and you're getting looked after. But if not, then there's a way to go.
Yeah, for sure. And moving back to the perception of, like, from an employer's perspective, it used to be seen as such a negative thing, job hunting, because you weren't loyal. If you weren't with a business for 5-10 years, you're not a loyal employee. Whereas I think that's changed, because I think millennials came into the mix, and millennials like a bit of challenge.
Isn't it us?
A bit. We are millennials, yes we are. But it's not seen as such a negative thing anymore for you to have, you know, 2 jobs over 3 years or something, because as long as you did a great job while you were there and you have good references, but it's actually really tough to start in a new job. The first 3 to 6 months, steep learning curve, and the ability you learn so much by being at different workplaces. You learn so much about the industry or how it works, the things that you think that should continue to be done or not be done at all. And that knowledge in itself is worth so much to a business, taking your learnings elsewhere. So I think in terms of that learning pace, yes, they do have a lot to add if they've been at multiple businesses. Whereas those that have stuck in one business for a long time will have the depth, but they don't have that variety of knowledge that you get from working at multiple different places. So I think definitely from a learning and knowledge and skill set perspective, by working at various companies, you have such a wealth of knowledge, and that's a real asset to any business to have that breadth of knowledge, I believe, and it can really help enhance your career. And I think employers are starting to look at that as a really positive thing as well. Some, not all.
Some.
If you're old school, you're going to be like, no, they've been there less than a year, not hiring them. They're not loyal.
There's still a lot of those old school employers out there, though.
The dinosaurs are dying off, though.
There is. Are we coming through, are we?
We are. Millennials are taking over. Now's our time.
Is it? I feel like we need to put a flag in the ground somewhere and start a little uproar.
Millennials are taking over workplaces.
They are indeed.
Yeah. I
I
think it's a good thing personally.
It is. It's growth. Way forward, something new.
And millennials are better managers. We're not, I feel like we're more empathetic and we're a bit more relaxed in the workplace. We believe in like people being happy at work.
I completely agree with you, but I feel like that's another topic.
It is.
Definitely.
I digress.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Let's not go there then.
That's another rabbit hole. It's good podcast topic. We'll write that down for the next one.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So, finishing words, because I'm really hoping we smash this one out in 15. Employee,
Yeah.
job hopping, yes or no?
It depends. Like, it doesn't look great on your CV if you're hopping every year.
No.
But that was what I did for a few years in a row. And the reason I did was, well, I was traveling. And so that makes sense to have a bit of hippity hop happening while you're traveling. But at the same time, and I do believe that I got a lot of valuable knowledge and skills from, working with so many businesses in a short period of time. But I also understand that when you're working in a business, how much can you really do in a year? Projects can take time to, from start to finish. So it's like, how much depth did you actually get and how much did you manage to achieve in that short time frame? So I'm very conscious of that. But I think it did do a lot for my career because it gave me that breadth, and working and upskilling in so many different organizations in a short period of time. Like, that was me getting experience on steroids. I stayed at one place for 3 years when I started my career. I learned way more from working these 3 different places over 3 years than I did in those 3 years, about the original 3 years. So if you want to really upskill very, very quickly, job hop. It's the best way to do it.
Here's a way to put it, and what you said at the end, I'm just thinking, how you said you learned a lot more for those 3 jobs you had in that short period of time. Is that because
Such a steep learning curve.
Was that because in the one year at 3 years, you got a bit complacent, you're like, I know what I'm doing, it's the same thing, and then you got to this new one, and you feel like you had to come in and prove yourself and had to get up to scratch, so you're putting a lot more work and effort in.
And there's a lot more learning.
And then because you're on that mindset of putting a lot more work and effort in, you reach to the end of the limits of that current job quicker because you're not complacent. So you're like, all right, I'm going, oh.
As soon as you reach complacency, you're like, time to move on.
Yeah. I agree. You should never be complacent. You should always be trying to better yourself and move forward. But we're saying that's not for everyone.
But also I feel like if you do get complacent, then you need to ask for more opportunities. When I did in my very first place that I worked, like my first proper job, I asked for more, and it wasn't met with, oh, you want more? That's great. It was met with, oh, don't you have enough work to do? Am I not giving you enough work? So it was not met in a productive, healthy way. And so I left, and I found a place that actually gave me opportunities and was open to me wanting to take on new projects.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I'm always one for raising things. I'm never going to, just hightail out of there. So I'm always like, I got time, give me more. Got anything else? Let me have some more. Got some time. But like I say, if nothing comes, then you're going to go looking, aren't you? Because realistically, your mind needs to keep moving. Well, ours does. Anyway, does. Do's is. Ours doozes.
Do's is correct.
Okay, doozes. Ours doozes needs to keep moving. And if it doesn't, then it goes off on its own. And sometimes when it goes off on its own tangent, things happen. Like Kee-Sue Creative, plug. You didn't think I was going to do it this film, but I did.
I think not a single episode of you haven't plugged it. Perfect segue. But so when it comes down to job hopping, I guess it's asking yourself, what are you doing it for? Is it because you're bored and you're not having any growth opportunities where you are? If so, fair game. And if you're not able to get those opportunities, even though you've asked for them, leave. That sucks. Like, You do you, boo. But if you're job hunting because you get 5,000 to 10,000 more each time, then I think that's where the trouble starts. If you're just moving for money, you're never really going to be happy.
I feel like this is a repeat of a podcast. We did one before I was like, should we move for money? I think that's one of our podcasts. One of the earlier stages. And, you should never move for money, because if you move for opportunity or excitement, money will always follow. And I truly believe that. And the opportunity or excitement is you physically going out and asking for more opportunity or more projects, which is aka excitement. And if it doesn't come, then you move, because you're not getting what you need to fulfill your life, because you spend more time at bloody work than you do with your bloody family, more time at work than you do anything else in your life. So you need to have excitement and feel fulfilled. And if you're not feeling fulfilled within that current job, then by all means, jump on that bus and hop on along.
Go to the next stop.
Yes, and you do, like you mentioned it before, you do have your anomalies. Anemones. You do have those anomalies where you've got students, like you said, or travellers that are hopping job for job because they're in a different city, or they're just taking what they can get to pay the bills because they're going to the next thing. But they may have picked up some experience points from video game talk. May have picked up some experience from those little bits of jobs throughout, so they just put them all on their CV. But then, like I said in the beginning, an employer can look at that and not read the finer detail of the job. It might be, got a job at A, picked up this experience, got a job at B, picked up this experience, which makes me applicable for the role I'm playing for. And they might they might have a list of things that make them applicable, whereas this other person's got one job. Oh, yeah, he's a lawyer employee, he's been there for a bit, for 5 or 6 years. So they might write them off. So my original statement as an employer, probably look at retracting that a little bit, because when you break it,
you're going to change your mind. This conversation's changing mind.
When you break the scheme of things down, when you actually put some actual thought into it, job hopping for someone young may be the only way they can actually get ahead in life.
Yeah, I guess so. If you want to, as I mentioned before, get experience on steroids, everyone wants experience, but how do you get experience?
It's like those funny little clips you see on the top tick. Is I'm applying for this job, fresh out of uni. Oh yeah, what experience do you have? Oh, none, but I've got a degree. Oh, we're looking for someone with 5 years experience minimum. Well, how do I get experience? No one's going to hire me. I need to get experience, so they're going to have to go get it some other way. The job they're wanting is not going to give them because they don't have experience. You're going to have to get experience from other little spots to make up for it.
I do have a view on that. Volunteer. Do it for free. That's what I did.
Yes.
People will hire you for free, believe it or not. People don't want to have to pay you.
No, I did that when I did that when I became a panel beater. Work experience in a panel shop.
There you go. You're experienced now.
I know.
I wanted to quickly touch on something we talked about actually, which was if you're not getting the challenge that you want in your current work, weigh it up. Sometimes we just need to have a little side project or something outside of work that keeps our engine revving. For example, sometimes maybe a side project or starting a side hustle can be what you need in order to maintain that sense of challenge. And obviously, if your workplace permits it, you've got to read the fine print of your contract and make sure that, you're not stepping on any toes. But sometimes starting your own business on the side can be this challenge that you need to feel fulfilled and get that sense of challenge and fulfillment that you're looking for without having to quit your job, find a new one. Just want to put that out there as an option.
I agree. I think that's good. More people that go out and start their own businesses, the more they are successful, the more they can hire people, and the more opportunities there are for people to get more experience out there, and then maybe we'll end up with less job hoppers.
Less job hoppers.
Less job hoppers. Full circle.
Wow. What a great way to finish off this very short episode.
I know. I finished my beer. Let's say that's 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it is.
Well, thank you so much for listening to our episode all about job hopping, whether it's a positive or a negative thing. I think at the end of the day, you make your own mind up. And if you are hopping jobs, don't feel bad for it. But also look at the reasons why you're doing that and how it's going to reflect on you when you're applying for a new job. And what is it doing for you?
Yes, and I'm going to wrap it up before the rain gets any louder and I can't edit the noise out. Thank you for listening.
Bye.